For what purpose does the gentlelady from Texas seek?
I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
I only have one at the desk. This one you have pre-printed. Is this the same one? This is our 653 June 1st. I think Santa got that right.
7-2.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 16, printed in the congressional record, offered by Ms. Jackson Lee of Texas.
Pursuant to House Resolution 287, the gentlelady from Texas and a member opposed each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Texas.
Let me thank the chairwoman. Let me thank the ranking member, Mr. Price, and his staff, and the chairman, Mr. Diaz-Balart, for their work on something that is very close, near and dear to many members' hearts. It certainly is close to mine. The Jackson Lee Amendment was passed last year, and so I am grateful to have the opportunity this year to restate the fact that this amendment indicates that none of the funds made available by this act under the heading Federal Transit Administration Transit Formula Grants may be used in contravention of Section 5309. This is, as said, an amendment identical to the Jackson Lee Amendment. And might I just briefly speak to this amendment? It affirms the importance of to the nation of projects that create economic development, particularly in the transportation area. It particularly says that the Secretary of Transportation may make grants under this section to state and local government, the authority to assist in financing capital projects, small startup projects, including the acquisition of real property. The key is that these grants under the state and local authority can undertake capital projects, which means that when local governments propose their projects, the Secretary has the authority to go forward. Nothing can contravene that authority. It is well documented that nothing enhances the competitiveness of a nation in this increasingly globalized economy than investments in transportation and infrastructure capital projects. I asked the chairwoman if I might put an article about transportation dated March 31st, 2015 into the record.
The gentlelady's request will be covered by general leave.
Thank you. Just to emphasize finally that whether it is seaways, dams, highways, or tollways, whether it involves other modes of transportation, transportation projects are major engines driving the economy. That's why we're here on the floor. And it's important for the local community to be drivers of that. The metropolitan regions will not be able to maintain economic vitality without this investment. Finally, the Jackson Lee Amendment clearly speaks to the global aspect of the Secretary of Transportation having the ability to work with our local and state governments. I ask my colleagues to join me in restating that the Secretary of Transportation has authority to work with local and state entities on the proposed projects that they have, and for these projects to continue to grow and develop to ease traffic congestion. I ask my colleagues to support the Jackson Lee Amendment, and I reserve my time.
The gentlelady reserves her time. Does any member seek time in opposition? The gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Let me thank my colleagues, and again, I ask for the support of the Jackson Lee Amendment, and I yield back.
The gentlelady from Texas yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Texas. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.